And literally the hair on my neck stood up because I thought that is so weird. And I knew who it was. I knew who it was. It was him, the father of lies.
Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name.
Hi, thanks for tuning in to Armor of God. As always, thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time to be here with us. And hopefully, you'll be edified with what we've put together for you here. Anyway, this is going to be a rather short video because it's got to do with something that I see Protestants often comment on this channel. And so I hope our non-Catholic brothers and sisters here can take into heart and to reflect by what Father Dan Reehil is sharing here. This is in a way the answer to one of the most popular comments that I see for the past few months whenever I covered the subject of praying to the angels, praying to the saints, praying to the Virgin Mary. I've explained this many times on the community post before, but I think you'll find Father Reehil's explanation much easier to understand.
This is the biggest negative question I get from Protestants is, I don't need the saints or the angels. I pray to God directly. Well, yeah, nobody's saying you can't do that. In fact, Jesus taught us the prayer, the Lord's Prayer, the Our Father prayer, which tells us that's how we should be praying, at least part of the time. It's called the perfect prayer. But you can't deny what God could have went to Mary and given her the message directly. He didn't do it that way. He sent an angel. And Joseph was given these messages in his dreams through an angel. Again, God could have come directly. He didn't do it that way. And we have the angels ministering throughout creation in various ways and means, where certainly God could have done that on his own, but he didn't choose to do it that way. So, when you think you know everything and you're just going to go to God directly, you can do that, and I'm hoping God will bless you for going to him directly, but because Jesus came to us through the Blessed Virgin Mary. He could have just been plopped down in a manger directly from heaven, but he chose to come through her and grow in her womb for 9 months, just like the rest of us did. So he chose this. So clearly he thinks there's a value to humanity, but also to the angelic realm. And he likes to participate with both of them, people and angels. So for the people who are shutting down Our Lady, shutting down the angels, shutting down, all the different ways that we're guided and protected, I think you're in for a pretty rude awakening when you stand before God at the end of your life. And he shows you your life and you see the vast ways and means by which the angels and the saints collaborated to get us to heaven. They can't force us to go, but they can certainly have an impact in our lives to draw us deeper in love with God. And, when we see that at the end of life, we're going to be just overwhelmed with gratitude for the gift of the angels, but also the saints and all the ways that they were supporting us and guiding us and opening little doors for us to go through, and all the many, 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 many God winks of our life where things were orchestrated to bring us to a certain place and time where we would grow in deeper virtue and love of God.
I'll share one more clip from Father Reehil here. By the way, you can listen to more of Father Reehil on Radio Maria, and if you have the time, please consider supporting Radio Maria. It's really a great platform, and there are a lot of priests sharing good stuff there. Anyway, here's the story shared by Father Reehil.
Now, manipulating situations. I had a very strange occurrence back when I lived in Manhattan. I had just converted back to the church, still working on Wall Street, and I had taken a spiritual director from this church downtown Manhattan called Our Lady of Victory, of all things. And he was a beautiful older Polish priest. And he would meet with me about once a week to talk about, how I was doing and how my praying was going and all these sort of things. And I was going through a struggle at that time because life was so busy. Much of this being, I was in sales at this point in time, and I was entertaining a lot of people. So my nights were full, taking people out to restaurants and wining and dining and all this sort of thing. And it was a lot, and it was starting to wear me down. And so the priest said to me, well, I think let's try for a month of trying to get home by 10 o'clock and don't drink any alcohol. Order a Perrier or something during the meal, and this will help try to balance your life a little. I said, okay, we both agreed this was a good plan. It's about 11 in the morning. I remember it wasn't even lunchtime. And I left the church. I walked out the door of the church, and right in front of the door was this very handsome man dressed in a beautiful suit, looked like he walked off the cover of GQ magazine. And he smiled at me. I thought it was odd because he was just standing there. And I turned to walk back to my office, and he started following me. And he grabbed me by the arm, which, let me tell you, in New York City, nobody grabs anybody by the arm or you get a fist in your face. It was a very strange thing. And he said, "Come with me. Let's go get a drink." And literally the hair on my neck stood up because I thought, that is so weird. I just came out of the spiritual direction and agreed to not do this. And plus it's the morning. And I said, "Get away from me." And I immediately turned in the another direction to head back to where I lived, which was very close, 4 blocks away. And he followed me the whole way. And when I went through the doors of my lobby and I looked back, he was just staring at me laughing. And I knew who it was. It was him, the father of lies. He was trying to derail me, and he was setting up circumstances to really let me know he had his sights on me. Strange encounter. Happened once more in Miami, but that's another day. We can go into that.
As I said earlier, this is going to be a short video as I'm currently going through some materials for this weekend's compilation. But I'd like to let you know that I'm currently gathering all the points shared by every exorcist I've featured in my videos before from the start of this channel, and put all of them in point forms and categorize them according to their respective subjects. Because as you know, we've listened to these priests sharing a lot of useful points in regards to spiritual warfare, so I think it's much easier if I just put them in slides and PDF format. I'll share it with all of you once I've completed it. I'm still not sure where to share them later on though once it's ready. Is it advisable to share the file on Google Drive? If you have any suggestion, please do let me know in the comments below. I think this way will make it easier for us all to strengthen what we've already learned so far, and we'll remember much better what these priests have been sharing with us. Well then, that will be all for the video this time. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us, and hopefully, even though it's a short video, you've learned something useful from this video. Anyway, for those of you who'd like to support our works, I left a link to our PayPal donation in the description box below, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for your continuous support, contribution, and prayer. And until the next one, stay safe, stay healthy, and may God bless you.
When I meet with people who have diabolical afflictions, the first thing I ask is, are you a Catholic? Because the first mode of defense is to, get your soul cleaned up, get you back into a prayer life with through the Mass, get to Mass. But if they're not, then we have to do other things. So that's the first thing. And then that should keep you pretty much out of trouble. It's with rare occasion that the devil gets to harass somebody who's living a virtuous life. It does happen on occasion. You might recall St. Padre Pio was often beaten up during the night by the devil. And I remember him reading about, he was often chastising his guardian angel. "Where were you? I was getting beaten up." If that happens, that means God's allowing it for a purpose. And I would say in the case of the saints, also St. John Vianney also was harassed during the night by the devil. These men were of such great virtue that the devil knew there's no temptation that I can get them with. They've advanced spiritually to this point of transforming union with God, I would say, that he just wanted to beat them up for the sake of hurting them. And for whatever reason, God allowed it. Perhaps to prove to the world the devil is real because so many don't believe. But that's rare, and you should not have any fear of that. Because if you're at that point in your life where you're that virtuous, then it wouldn't bother you in the least anyway.